Hey, today I'll be talking about episodes 30 through 33 of Legend of ZhenHuan. The Emperor and the Empress get the news about ZhenHuan's accident and rush back to the palace. Hua Fei is in her room, freaking out as they wait to hear if the baby made it. They try to make us feel bad for her as she thinks back on her own miscarriage, but no. ZhenHuan is still unconscious, but we find out that she has indeed miscarried. Hua dresses down so she can go and kneel in front of her palace in apology. I like the acting here. When the other women show up, you can see that even though she's terrified about what's going to happen, her character is still the same. ZhenHuan finally regains consciousness and the Emperor gives her the news. Sun Li kills it. This is easily some of the best acting I've ever seen in a harem drama, and I tear up every time I see this scene. Even the Emperor shows some emotion for the first time. The Emperor calls Hua in. Not letting her talk her way out of this one, the Emperor finally lays into her, calling her completely cold-hearted and really tearing into her for what she did to ZhenHuan. Hua tries to elicit sympathy by bringing up her miscarriage, but the Emperor is as unimpressed as I am. This is the angriest we've ever seen the Emperor. If only that anger translated to her punishment. Hua Fei is demoted back to Hua Fei and placed under house arrest. She also has to kneel outside her house for 4 hours every day so she can think about what she did. It is stricter than he's ever been, but she killed a baby. When ZhenHuan and the Emperor are left alone, ZhenHuan blames him for giving her so much power despite knowing what she's like, not to mention giving her such a light punishment. He starts to get defensive and asks why she didn't simply stand up to Hua Fei, even though the answer is obvious. Hua Fei would never have backed down. If ZhenHuan had resisted, she would have undoubtedly gone after her servants or even Ling Rong. Hua Fei seems the type to bring out a barrel of puppies and threaten to blow it up if she doesn't get what she wants. He knows this, of course. This scene is really good at showing that no matter how well the Emperor treats her, they aren't equals in any sense of the word. He's definitely more at fault here, but she can't even really argue with him. They're not a husband and wife that can actually get into an argument. She still has to give him a certain amount of respect. And having grown up as royalty, the Emperor doesn't really know how to take the blame for anything. He leaves, and it's clear that there is now a huge divide between them. Over the next few weeks, Hua Fei kneels for 4 hours every day until one day she passes out. The Emperor sends a doctor but doesn't see her. Way to stay strong this time, guy. ZhenHuan, meanwhile, becomes very depressed. The Emperor stops going to see her to give her some time to recover, like when I leave my dishes in the sink because they need time to soak. When the Emperor meets with his mother, he reveals that he feels guilty about this because of something that's been hinted at this whole show. Hua Fei's incense. The Emperor gifted it to her years before ZhenHuan arrived, and there have been lots of scenes showing how much she adores it. We find out that the ingredients used are meant to prevent pregnancy. It's the reason she miscarried and the reason she remains barren. In hindsight, it makes these scenes look almost comical. Yeah, sweet smell of no babies. Anyway, this means the Emperor knows her character, and though he loves having her as a concubine, he doesn't think she should be a mother. I completely agree. Hua Fei is this aggressive just trying to stay top dog. Imagine her trying to make her son the crown prince. All of his children would be dead within the year. It also means that Duan Fei is innocent, but I think we all knew that. He wonders if being in Hua Fei's palace for so long weakened ZhenHuan and resulted in her miscarrying. To be honest, there are so many possible factors. Remember, Dr. Wen helped her stay sick when she first entered the palace. She was also poisoned by Yu for a while, and we find out later that the ointment that Ling Rong gave her for her neck scratches was actually meant to weaken her body. The Empress also sneaks into her room and kicks her stomach while she sleeps. Okay, I made that last one up, but really it's almost a miracle she made it so far into the pregnancy. Ling Rong comes to see ZhenHuan and overhears Dr. Wen talking to her. Now that it seems she will not be able to reconcile with the Emperor, the good doctor decides to shoot his shot and tells her he still loves her. Yeah, everyone knows, you're not subtle at all. ZhenHuan makes it clear that it's not happening, and then they notice Ling Rong eavesdropping and she awkwardly runs out. Ling Rong and ZhenHuan figure out the secret of Hua Fei's incense. This makes things even more strained when the Emperor actually does come to visit. The Emperor begins to see her less and less. With Hua Fei and ZhenHuan out of the way, the Empress sees an opportunity and hires a professional to help Ling Rong recover her voice. There's another banquet for who knows what. ZhenHuan is still unhappy and is made worse by the fact that Fu Cha, who also had a miscarriage recently, seems to be completely recovered. You can just hear the Emperor going, "See? She's fine." Suddenly, a mystery woman floats in on a boat, singing. It's Ling Rong, voice recovered and hoping to get the Emperor's attention. The emperor is happy for any distraction and promotes her to precious lady on the spot. Hua Fei is fuming at not being let into the banquet, and as usual taking her anger out on Chao Guiren. She scares Wen Yi into crying, and in a weirdly funny scene pretty much yells at her, "What are you crying about? I'm the one that should be crying. Me!" By the way, look at how big Wen Yi is. Seems like just yesterday she was being poisoned for attention. Sunrise, sunset. Over the next few months, the emperor spends most of his time with Ling Rong. The other women still look down on her for her family status, but with the empress's support and the emperor's attention, Ling Rong is fine with things as they are. The only caveat is that the empress forces her to take birth control every time she's with the emperor. The empress giveth and the empress taketh away. Hoping to cheer ZhenHuan up, Huanbi goes to see Guo Wang. That night, Guo Wang plays his flute outside of ZhenHuan's place, drawing her outside. They have a heart-to-heart and Guo Wang tells her he sees her as a close friend, and it hurts to see her like this. Speaking of solid friends, Mei Zhuang also tries to convince ZhenHuan to move on. It sounds a bit cold, but miscarriages were more common at the time, so yeah, she would be expected to get back on the horse, so to speak. Finally, Mei Zhuang has enough and takes ZhenHuan on a field trip. They go to the Cold Palace, a place where consorts are sent when they are no longer fit to live in the regular palaces for whatever reason. They see Li Pin, the consort who lost her mind after the ghost scheme in episode 11. The women in the Cold Palace have gone crazy from neglect and are clearly mistreated. Mei Zhuang's point is clear. Keep it up and you'll end up here. Though Mei Zhuang never reconciled with the emperor, she's developed a strong relationship with the empress dowager. The point is, everyone needs someone to rely on. I don't say it often enough, but Mei Zhuang is pretty cool. ZhenHuan is thinking things over as she walks home and accidentally bumps into Qi Fei and Fu Cha. Qi Fei is going to let it go, but Fu Cha stirs the pot, encouraging her to bring the hammer down hard. Qi Fei, the dumbest rock in the pond, gets angrier as she convinces herself that ZhenHuan is the reason for all the misfortune in her life. She has ZhenHuan slapped and then orders her to kneel. After 2 long, miserable hours, ZhenHuan limps her way home, her resolve hardened. When she arrives, she tells Huanbi to help her catch some butterflies. Alright, I remember now why I dislike the emperor, and it all started with the way he handled this miscarriage. Not great. ZhenHuan literally just lost a baby and he's all, "No worries, we'll have another. One thing we can all agree on, this is not my fault." It does make sense though. The emperor has literally a whole country to run. ZhenHuan and the other women are just a part of his life, whereas to the women he's their whole world. Of course he means more to them than they mean to him. It's also obvious that ZhenHuan's miscarriage really did affect him. Honestly, after watching Legend of Ru Yi, a drama I really recommend, my standards for a good emperor have gone down. Way down. This emperor by comparison is sweet and perfect. As for Hua Fei's punishment, of course the emperor is beholden to Nian Gengyao and the court of public opinion, but man, that is some light punishment. Though the way she complains, you would think the emperor had everyone in her family killed or something. All she does is feel sorry for herself. It actually surprised me how much of a sniveling mess she became. Considering her personality, I thought she would be more like, "I'm glad that whore's baby is dead, and so what if I'm back to Fei? I'll be promoted again in no time." But no, she just mopes. Finally, the scene where ZhenHuan gets her resolve back. I won't say anything more about Qi Fei since it's obvious that she's got the brain of a goldfish, but Fu Cha's character here is simultaneously malicious and sympathetic. Hear me out. The same hour she was having her miscarriage, ZhenHuan was found to be pregnant. Instead of consoling Fu Cha, everyone immediately went, "Hey, new baby on the way!" As much pain as ZhenHuan is in, Fu Cha was probably no less upset when she lost her child. But instead of friends trying to pick her up, she pretty much had 2 options: get over it or die alone. And now she sees ZhenHuan getting so much love and attention when she was just left to suffer. Mei Zhuang, Jing Fei, Duan Fei, Dr. Wen, Guo Wang, even the Empress Dowager tried to help her. They both went through the same situation, but the treatment is so different because she's not the main character. I think I can understand why she hates ZhenHuan so much. It's not actually her fault, but yeah, I think I'd hate her too. In any case, I'm glad that ZhenHuan has got her groove back. It's a harsh reality that some people will be more than happy to step on you when you're down. You gotta keep moving forward. Till next time, thanks for watching.